The term azulejos refers to tiles from the countries of Spain and Portugal. Today, we are going to focus on the beautiful Portuguese azulejos that can be found all over their capital city of Lisbon. But first, let's take a quick look at the history. Decorated tiles and bricks can be found even as far back as ancient Persia and can be seen in the gates of Ishtar during the time of King Nebuchadnezzar from around 604 to 562 BC. For our purposes, the history of these tiles in Portugal can be dated all the way back to Arab influence, as the word azulejos comes from an Arabic word which means small polished stones. Maybe the earliest example of Islamic tile decoration that we can see can be found on the Mosque of the Dome of the Rock. This building is located on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem in Israel. This Islamic art influence found its way into Spain and Portugal when the Moors invaded the Iberian Peninsula in the 8th century AD. Now, the Portuguese king Manuel I, who reigned from 1495 to 1521 AD, visited Spain and wanted to use these same Islamic-inspired tiles with their geometric patterns in his castle in Sintra. You can see them here in the Arab Room in Sintra. So it is during the 15th and 17th centuries that the art of painted tiles flourished here in Portugal, transforming and taking on other influences such as Italian and Flemish. What's so beautiful about this art is that it is one that has been cherished and protected in Lisbon, as almost everywhere you walk in the city center, you can see these breathtaking azulejos adorning the buildings and public spaces. Take a closer look at these tiles here. Notice the colors and the repeated patterns. Now we'll take a moment to draw our own tile inspired by the azulejos from Portugal. For our azulejos drawing, you're going to need a paintbrush, pencil, eraser, sharpie, and I'm using watercolor pencils, but you could use plain watercolor or any other kind of colors you have. So we're starting out with a regular sheet of paper. This is actually paper from a drawing pad, but I want to turn it into a square. So I'm going to take this side with my fingers, my pincher fingers, and I'm gonna fold it all the way down until it meets the bottom here. It's got to be flush. So I wanna just double check that I'm getting it right, all flush there before I press down. If this is too far over, then that's not right. You want it to be just there, really pressing down only when you see that it is completely lined up. And I am gonna make a diagonal here because I'm gonna use that in my drawing. It's gonna help out with my drawing. So I'm just turning mine over because I can see that I've got something that's not totally cool right there. It's not completely even. So I wanna make sure I get a really nice square. So I think, there we go. I think that's matched up pretty good. All right, so I've got a triangle. But I'm gonna cut this portion off. So you can do a couple of things. You could just draw the line with your pencil. I'm pressing down. This is the edge. So I'm just gonna press down and just kind of draw a light line, just very gently pressing down, just drawing a nice light line, just like that. Then I would open it up and now I can cut that with my scissors. So that's one way you can do it, or you could just use the fold as your guide and just cut along that way. But I think I'll go ahead and open it up and cut along this line. So I'm gonna cut along this line. Great. And now I have a square. But I also wanna know what's the center point, because there is something about these azulejos that is very symmetrical. Everything is even and works with the center point, with the center line. So I'm gonna open that back up now. So now I've got a gorgeous square with these nice blocks that will help me with my drawing. Okay, so I'm gonna work on, I think I'm gonna go with this tile design, but I'm actually just gonna do one big design. So this has 4 tiles here, so I'm just gonna focus on one tile, which is gonna be that one. So I'm gonna actually make a circle in the center. And if you have anything around the house that has, this is just a toy, it has a circle shape, you can trace that. Or if you have a compass, we could work with the compass as well. So I'm gonna start with my compass and I'm just gonna make kind of a small circle. So I'm putting the point on the center there and I'm holding it steady and spinning it around. So I just get a nice circle there. Good, so I've just got a nice little circle in the center. I'm just gonna darken that up for my video purposes so you can see that clearly. Okay, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and just make a very wide circle because I want to know where are the edges of my petals. So I'm just gonna open up my compass and spin it around, getting a nice wide compass, a wide circle, and that's gonna help me to know where my petals are ending up. So I'm just kind of going back and forth so I get a nice, there we go. Awesome, so there we go. So I'm gonna work with that. So I'm gonna start now with my center point, and I'm gonna go and make a nice rounded petal that goes up like this. So there's a petal that goes like this. I'm gonna do another petal that goes like this. Okay. And there's a triangle coming through the top here, right there. So I'm gonna kind of find out where I think my center point is from here. And I'm gonna go and make a nice triangle. Whoop. And I'm doing this kind of free-handed. If you feel like you wanna grab a ruler and get a really nice straight line, that's fine too. I don't mind it nice and a little bit, you know, just a little bit loose here and there. So I'm gonna do another line here like that, then another one. Now I want this to be symmetrical, so what I do up here, I wanna do down here. So I'm gonna go down here and repeat. Put the petal, goes down to this circle guideline here, then find where my center point is. That's where my triangle is gonna go. And then I do this triangle that goes down this way. Boom, boom, and down there, 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 and here. Then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna repeat it. So I'm just gonna turn my circle and repeat that design. So make my petals, find my center, do my triangle. So I'm gonna repeat that all the way over here, like this. Find my petal, go down to my triangle, oh, a little bit further, and then make my triangle. One here, one here, one here, and one here. There we go. All right, so that's a pretty fun design already. So since I've got this base, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to Sharpie because now I'm just gonna play. Just gonna play around with this Sharpie and find out like, oh cool, maybe I can make these little small petals right here. Like that. That looks cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and outline that petal like this. Then I'll outline my other pencils. And then again, as you're moving around your page, whenever you make one thing, you wanna do it on the other side so it's all symmetrical. And just kind of play around with where you might wanna put some patterns. So maybe I wanna do a second line in here like this. do a double line. There you go. Maybe I want to add a little swoop in here. Okay, so I'm doing it there, and then I'm going to do it everywhere I do it. Cool, looking great so far. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and outline the triangles here. So now I'm going to take a look at some other tiles to find a new design. So there's this really cool thing that looks to me like a fleur-de-lis. So I'm gonna go from this side where I've got my circle guide and I've got this diagonal little line here, and I'm gonna draw a circle right here. Then I'm gonna do a little shape down this way, and then I'll do like kind of a petal going up this way. Okay, and now I'm gonna do two little swirly swoops. So let me decide how far I'm gonna go. I guess I'm gonna go all the way down and then up like that. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm gonna go down, up, hit that little circle, and over. Then I'll do the same thing over here. Down, up, hit that little circle, and over. So what did I do? I started with a circle in the center and kind of a petal down. And I'm using this center line. So I did a curved line on one side of the center and a curved line on the other side of this diagonal fold. And now I'm gonna do this petal thing up here. So it just went kind of like this. Okay, and then I've got my swoop. So let me remind myself, started up here and I went curved up until this and then over, okay? So go over here, curve, and over, all right? And again, this is just the way I'm doing mine. You are welcome to change up the design based on what inspires you. So that looks really fun, I love that. All right, now I gotta do it 2 more times. Here we go. So now I switched to a gray color because of my Sharpie, because I want this extra detail just to be a little bit lighter than my main detail, but you could still do black if you want. So I'm just gonna outline all of those. And now I'm going to erase all of my pencil marks. Now I have erased and I'm going to start to apply color. So with colored pencils, I like to make sure that I'm really pressing down hard. You want to make sure that you really get a nice pigment on your paper. And my hand is already starting to hurt, but I want to show you that when I want to have a really nice bold color, you can see the difference between if I do that and if I just go like that, then it's not coming out as bright and as vibrant. Also, I'm missing a lot of color. I'm missing a lot of spots. So when I do small strokes, I'm really getting all of the pigment onto the paper that I want. Now, you certainly can draw with value. So there are going to be times when you will want to press down not as hard because you do want to show value, and that's something different. But in this case, when I'm just trying to apply color to my design, I am pressing down and I'm going in small strokes. So when we're working with colored pencil, do remember that tip, that just going with little small movements makes a big difference. So I'm gonna pick some other colors, and I noticed that I did that double stroke right there, but I didn't do it up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that double line there. And maybe I'll change up the color a little bit. I think I'll go for the dark blue for that part. So feel free to color yours in whichever way you'd like with whichever colors. I'm gonna go for a blue and yellow palette, and I might add some red in there. But those are gonna be my main choices, are blue, red, yellow. And I can tell I'm gonna need to sharpen my pencil pretty soon. All right, so let's see, what do I do for the inside? I think I'll go a big yellow. Now I've got a big surface to cover, so I'm not gonna use as small strokes as I mentioned earlier, but I am going back and forth in the same spot as opposed to just like, you know, going like that. I'm not really coloring that in very well, am I? But if I stay really close to my past mark, then I'm able to really fill in that space. So when I see kids using colored pencil for the first time, I see that mistake made, that they might just take it and go like that and think that they're finished. Well, that doesn't work, right? Let's get some really bold color inside of our forms and our shapes. So we're gonna color this. And so just have fun right now, moving around your design, coloring it however you'd like to see your tile. And you can also leave white spaces. So maybe I decide that this space here, I'm not gonna color that, and that's okay. So you can decide where you wanna have color and where you don't. I've added color. Here's the fun part. I'm going to go through and add a little bit of water on top of my pencils. So I'm going to start with the lightest color first, which is, in my case, is the yellow. And I'm going to go around and just kind of blend in the pigment with a little bit of water. And I'm going to be mindful that I don't go into the other colors unless I wanted them to blend. Because as you know, when you mix yellow and blue, you get green. So if I put water from my yellow leaf over to the blue side, I'm gonna get a green strip, which is not what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go through here, finish this off. Now I'll go through here. So I wanted these to be orange, and I didn't have a very nice orange, so I added a little bit of red and yellow there to make a little bit of orange. And I can take some of this red from the center and go in on top of where I've done here, and that'll give it a little more of an orange tone. Cool. So excellent. So just keep going throughout your drawing, adding the water color to really add a nice vibrant look to it. And then we are finished with our tile, our Azulejos tiles. Really great, really beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing your work.